This video is meant as a quick guideline for new authors that plan to write guest articles on our blog Supply Chain Data Analytics. And I just wanted to go through some simple guidelines and some standardized formats for how to write articles that I wanted to pass on to new authors. And yeah, the easiest way of doing that was to make a quick video. So here it goes. This is one example article that I wanted to go through that I can use as an example for going through some of the standards and some of the guidelines. First of all, you see here the title of the article. There's no uppercase title here. So I see some people they like to write every new word with a capital letter. On this book, the standard is that we write only names in big. Like for example, you can see here R is written in big, but otherwise we just write like in a normal text. Yeah, no unusual capital letters or uppercase titles. Keep it lowercase and just write as if it was a normal text. Then in the beginning of an article, usually it would be a good idea to try to reference to some previous content that you've been publishing, or try to somehow introduce the topic in reference to other posts that have been published. If there's no other article that has been published on the subject, then try to give some kind of introduction that shows and highlights the context and the importance of this article, and try to write in first person. So some authors, they like to write in third person, like we are gonna look at this, we are gonna go through that, we are gonna do a coding example now. The standard on this blog would be to write in first person. So personalize it and write the article from a first person perspective. So I want to I will show you a coding example. I will show you how to implement Monte Carlo simulation. I have worked in the area of Monte Carlo simulation for a long time. So keep it first person. Also, when writing an article, you will, for example, benefit from using illustrations, figures, to keep it more simple and to make it easier to understand. So try to implement a lot of figures and visualizations. When you do so, then try to stick to a color scheme. The color scheme would be, this would be a good example. So this red color, this blue color, this gray color, and black. Those four colors would be the four colors that I would see as a standard on this block. So try not to use more colors than that. Try to stick to max 3 or 4 colors. If you use more colors than that, then chances are that you can reduce it to 3 or 4 colors. So try to reduce it to 2, 3, and 4 colors. And when you use the colors, try to stick to these colors that you can see here. So this type of red, this type of blue, and then black and gray. In the article itself, try to use a lot of H2 headers. So this is, for example, an H2 header. And that is also just a good practice to try to slice the article into subsections, and each subsection should have a H2 header. And also here, the standard for writing H2 headers will also be to not use any unusual uppercase writing. So keep it lowercase. You can see here, except from the first word, everything else is lowercase. So no capital letters, no unusual or unnecessary capital letters. Yeah, when you embed coding examples, try also to implement comments so that it's easy to read for people that visit the website. And don't use any captions. So when you write an article, I can show it here. When you write an article, so this is in the editor and the back end, you will always have the option of writing captions under a figure. The standard would be not to do that, so try not to do it. It doesn't add any information in this type of format that we write blog posts in, so I would try to avoid it. Sometimes in some few articles we use it, so sometimes it can be useful, but as a general rule of thumb, I would avoid using captions below the figures. Here's again, you can see this is actually an H3 header. So something I'm going to change now. Standard for headers would be to use H2 headers. So you have the title, then you have some introduction, and then you try to organize the post in sections, and each section has a H2 header. This is then an H3 header because this is a subsection of the first section. So if you go and slice it down into more subsections, then you can also start working with H3 headers. But I would not go deeper down than that. So you might have the highest level, which is the title, and then you have H2 headers for the subsections, and then some of the subsections you can divide again into subsections, but that would also then be the highest level of detail that I would choose. So don't add level 3 or level 4 depth of subsections. That would be too complex and too hard to read. Let me see if there's anything else here. Here you can see an example of a formula. You can see here also that all figures there are centered. So when writing an article, you will have the option of aligning a figure with the left side or with the right side or with the center. So try to align the figures with the center. Always choose the option of aligning figures with the center. The same is true for formulas. When embedding formulas, there's two ways of doing it. One, you can try to write in LaTeX directly in the blog post, but what I would prefer is write the formula separately in a separate tool and then take a screenshot, for example, with a snipping tool, and then upload this screenshot or this JPEG or this photo file embedded into the article instead of embedding LaTeX code. That would be my suggestion for how to do it in terms of workflow. Yeah, when using plots, also here you can see the first word I use capital letters for the first letter, but besides from that, no unusual or unnecessary uppercase writing. The same is true here for axes and labels. So this standard I would also recommend you to apply. In terms of colors, you can also see here, also in this plot, I try to use this color scheme of red, blue, and black. Whenever possible, try to apply that color scheme. And in terms of length, you can choose any length of an article. There's no specified minimal length. Usually a more brief article will be around 300 words, and a really detailed article will be around 1,000 or 1,500 words. But really, there's no standard for the length of an article. So there are no constraints or recommendations with regards to length of an article. Yeah. In terms of internal linking, I use a automatic linking tool on the blog, so you don't have to place internal links in the article itself. The website itself will generate links to other articles with related content, so you don't have to place internal links to content within the website in your articles. So that would be another thing to be aware of. Please don't embed internal links, because the software running the website will do it automatically. External links you can, however, place, and if they are helpful to visitors, then this would also be recommended and a good idea to embed some external links in your article. And then lastly, in terms of the thumbnail of the article, if you write an article with some kind of visualization inside it, so you're, for example, showing a coding example that generates an animation or a visualization, then try to use that visualization as your thumbnail. If that is not possible for you, maybe you're not generating any visualization or anything you can use as a thumbnail, then you can, for example, go to pexels.com and you can get pictures there that you're allowed to use. Pexels.com is the website that I personally use. And these pictures, they have copyright. There's no copyright protection in terms of you not being allowed to use it for commercial purposes. So you can use the pictures you find there for commercial purposes, and for example, you can also use them as a thumbnail for this article. And I mean, some good examples for thumbnails when it's not related to when you cannot use a plot or an animation as a thumbnail would be, in my opinion, something a little bit mystical. Here, this would be a good example, in my opinion. This is also a good example. I think this is a good example. Yeah. Try to use something that's clean, and doesn't have too many colors, and it's a little bit like calm and elegant and mysterious. That would be maybe the recommendation in terms of a thumbnail picture. And if we go back to an article here, I saw some new authors on the blog. They're embedding, for example, very big pictures inside the article. For example, we have a search engine optimization tool that runs on the website that gives recommendation when you write an article. And this search engine optimization tool will recommend to place big pictures inside the article. Please don't do it unless it makes sense, and don't put any pictures inside the article that are that are not there for any reason but search engine optimization. You should only put a picture in the article when it helps the reader, when it conveys some important information, and if it has like a natural reason to be there in the article. Yeah, and for now that would be the most important guidelines, I would say. Yeah, I look forward to reviewing your content and to work together with you on your